we do open slide, I would factor into sine x minus 3 and sine x plus 2. Okay, we have to divide the 3 back. Is everybody with me to that point? So now if you set them equal to 0, you get that sine of x is equal to positive 1 or negative 2/3. So I have to solve both of these. When is sine 1? Think about your hand trick. Sine is the square root of the top over 2, so that would be 90. Radical 4 over 2 is 1. If you want to think about your unit circle, we know sine is the y value, so it's only 1 twice. For this one, when sine is negative 2/3, in what quadrants is sine and negative? Referencing. Do we know when sine is 2/3? We don't. Okay. Oh, one thing. I said 0 to 2 pi on this one, didn't I? So I'm not in degrees, I'm in radians. So what should I say instead of 90? Pi over 2. Okay. So if it's not one we know, we have to use our calculator. First of all, we are in radians. So put it in radian mode. All right, then get a reference angle. So you do sine inverse, second sine of positive 2 over 3. And that gives me 0.7297. Are we okay so far? Now, how would I put that in quadrant 3? So what this tells me is like, this little angle is 0.7297. How do I find the whole thing? Add 180, except we're in radians, so we won't add 180, we'll add pi. So pi plus 0.7297. All right, what about quadrant 4? So in quadrant 4, that's saying this thing is 0.7297. How do I find everything up to that? Except we're in radians, so 2 pi minus the reference angle, 0.7297. Not every answer works out perfectly. Sometimes if it's not one that we know from the unit circle, we have to use our calculator in order to get it. Any questions on that one? Let's do this example. just say, well, I have two things multiplied that equal 2, set each of them equal to 2? No, that only works if it's a 0. So what do we have to do instead? Distribute that out. And I'm going to subtract over my 2. Now what could I do? Multiply to a negative 2 and add to a positive 1. So then if I set those equal to 0, I get that cosine of x is equal to a 1 and a negative 2. Cosine x equals 1. When is cosine positive 1? At 0 degrees. I didn't specify. Let's do degree solutions. So 0 degrees. Okay. If I say all solutions, I didn't say just between 0 and 360, so every time. Is this the only time? No, we know every time we come around the circle, it's going to happen again. How did we show that yesterday? If you put this, you do have to tell me that k is an integer. You can write it in words, or the shorthand, you put k. This curved e is an element of, it just means it is, and the symbol for integers is a double barred z. So on my answer keys, I probably use that notation, but if you don't like it, you can just say it's k is an integer. That's fine, it's just a shorthand. Would it be wrong if you just said 360k for this one? Because isn't 0 plus 360k the same as 360k? So you could simplify that. Okay, when is cosine equal to a negative 2? Think about the graph of cosine. What's your highest point? What's your lowest point? Can it equal negative 2? No. So that one doesn't give me any other answer. So this is my only answer. Basically, all the multiples of 360 work. Alright, so this is kind of a combination of algebra and unit circles. You have to use the algebra to solve an equation, and then the unit circle, it's finding the points on there where it happens. How are we doing with these overall? I want to do maybe 1 or 2 more with you, and then I really just want to let you guys practice so you can ask questions where you're getting stuck. I do want to look at this one, though. All right, what's different about this one? Two different trig functions. All right, so I can't just factor or isolate my trig function, but remember, we just got done doing all of these proofs and things. We can focus on either side. If I just look at the left, cosine squared. What can you change cosine squared to? 1 minus sine squared. So if you have two trig functions and you can't just factor, see if there's an identity. That might help. If I add over my sine squared, that gives me a 2 sine squared theta. What happens to my 1s? Okay, so if I divide by 2, sine squared theta equals 0, square root, and we just get 0. So when is sine 0? 0 and 180. And because I said all solutions, each of those gets the plus 360k. Where k is an integer. And you do have to tell me on every problem that k is an integer, even though that's slightly annoying. Any questions on that one? Let's do one more. Right, this one has two different trig functions, but do I have to look for an identity? What could I do instead?
Take out cosecant of both.
Two terms, they both have a cosecant x. So if we set those to 0, we get cosecant of x equals 0. And tangent of x equals square root of 3. Okay, if cosecant is 0, that means sine is the reciprocal of 0. 1 over 0 is undefined. Does that ever happen? No. Sine only hits things between -1 and 1. It's never undefined, so this one's not possible. Over here, when is tangent positive? Reference angle, I heard 60 degrees, which this one's in reading, so pi over 3. In which quadrants would we be in? 1 or 3. So my answer, I only need between 0 and 2 pi, so I don't have to have plus 360k or anything like that. So pi over 3 in quadrant 1 is pi over 3. And in quadrant 3, 4 pi over 3. Any questions at all, guys? So I want you to practice, but please, please, please ask questions. That's why I'm giving you so much class time, so that if you get stuck on one, you'll ask about it. So there is a handout I just posted, 10 questions.